Tonight we're here to answer the question, what does an art director do working at Nubank? I think things have changed so much over the last few years in terms of where an art director can work and what are the limits, if any, to being an art director. So to answer that question today, we have Gabriel Berta. He's based in São Paulo, Brazilian, currently at Nubank, which is, for those of you who don't know, an international fintech that is currently expanding to Mexico and Colombia. And he's leading the expansion on the creative side, on the creative aspects of the company. So welcome, Gabriel. I'm so excited. I've interviewed you before, but I'm so excited to talk to you again. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so am I. I'm really excited to be here. Really excited because now I saw that we have like some people from Costa Rica and also from Mexico, which is nice because I really would like to understand a little bit more about Mexican people. So thanks for this invite. Thanks, man, at Skol, Paulo André. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So if you want to introduce yourself, because I did a very basic introduction, if you want to sort of introduce yourself a little bit, anything that you would like to say. And like we've talked before, we really like to start off with also you showing your work and kind of showing something that a work that you're really proud of, something creative that you're very proud of and that you can show people so they can get to know you a little bit better. So take it away.
Awesome. Hi, people. I'm Berta or Gabriel. You can choose between that. I'm an art director. I studied Miami at school, and I've been practicing art direction for 12 years right now. And my whole background was from digital agency. And now I'm working on a fintech called Nubank, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about my process of working and the way I'm super open to questions. I believe this is more a chat than just an interview. So feel free to ask anything because I'm here to like improvising things.
So do you want to, well, I actually wanted to mention to people, maybe for the people who didn't read your bio yet, you worked at White, RGA, and Nubank. You won multiple awards and worked with clients from Nike to Google and Skol, which is personally one of my favorite works that you did, I think, looking at your portfolio. Yeah, I just love the sort of, I know it's not simple, but as a non-art director, that's how I know how to describe it. But like the simple minimalistic work that just like, that's what always gets me. So I love that. So
Thanks
yeah, maybe you could show something that you enjoy or something that you liked working on, and then we could talk maybe a little bit about the process behind it.
Let's do it. I can share my screen. Maybe I can show two things that I did. One for Skol that you already mentioned. Maybe this is a nice
yeah, I didn't even know you were going to talk about it, but great.
Let's do it. And another one maybe from Nubank because it was a different process. Right? Yeah, and the most recent, I don't know, I believe they are very different from each other. So maybe this could be a nice way to start. So
shows the first range.
Yeah, shows range. I don't know. If you guys are interested in something, please send me
yeah, I'm gonna put your portfolio on the chat like this. They can take a look too. I'll do it right now.
Awesome. Let's do it.
While you get started.
So this first project is one that I'm really proud of because it was super hard to do it. It demands a lot of respect to understand the public and to also to understand how to make things relevant and also minimalist with this. So basically we had like a simple idea, which was, okay, we need to, Skol had this briefing about, okay, we need to be on the LGBTQ parade in São Paulo, more present to raise more awareness into that. And they decided to make something really nice for this kind of customers. And they briefed us, okay, do whatever you want. We just want to highlight the proud that we have for this customer. And the first idea was, okay, let's try to make something with the rainbow. And there's no better mark or no better brand to work with colors than Pantone. So we just called Pantone, and we have this amazing idea, and Pantone really loved about this idea, which was having a pride pack for the LGBTQ parade in São Paulo. I won't put this the video case here, but I can show you a little bit about the process. So the process basically was to make individual patterns of Pantone that we could sell to raise awareness for this cause. So Pantone did with us all the colors for this parade, and the colors became a pride pack for us to sell, which was pretty nice. The results were amazing. People were really excited about that. And what I really like in this project is how simple it can be, but how relevant it can be. We don't need to say any word about it. We don't need to have like a huge or strong concept about it. We just didn't want to make something monochromatic. And well, it is all about colors, the Pantone, right? So it was a really nice project to do. A really difficult because we needed to approve things with Pantone, which was not easy because we were making new colors for Skol.
Oh, you developed new colors.
Yeah. These colors was just for Skol, the pride, the yellow pride, the red
exclusive
pride,
for the product.
Yeah,
that sounds like such an exciting thing for an art director to do too. Like, I developed my own colors, okay?
Kind of. Now they use these colors not with this label like yellow pride, but they was super into label like yellow pride, the red pride, the purple pride, which was awesome. I don't know, I really thought it was awesome. And the whole process of improvement for this was super cool, was super nice to work with. This is something that I'm really proud of doing. This is about design too, but maybe I can show this project.
But I think it's important too. Someone commented that it's sold out. And I think that's also important. You know, it actually had results on top of looking.
It was sold out like really fast. We managed to make like a whole party with that. The first idea was to make on the LGBTQ parade. But it was super difficult, especially because Skol lose the rights to sell in the parade that year. So we had to improvise. So what we did was to like book LGBTQ parties that we had in the same weekend. All the parties, LGBTQ parties, we did, and we put these exclusive candies, exclusive Skol Pride things, which was really difficult to do, but it was super nice to see. Like people were super excited. Some people like directly contact me about, oh, I wanted to buy this, and not even I had one because it was super difficult to have it. Anyway, it was fun. It was really fun. It demands like lots of respect to understand everybody included into that, and how can we talk about it. But it was pretty
special.
It was special, you know. It was nice.
Amazing. So now we go to a project already from Nubank, and I can see from the title that it's already a very different context, right? Like Skol was a situation where you could still do parties, and then this project is something that's happening in isolation, something that has to be enjoyed by everyone in isolation.
Exactly. Not just in isolation, but we would like to. It is Nubank, right? We need to make fun of things, and we decided to make on the Stress Day, International Stress Day, a couple of initiatives that would help other clients bank to be free of this stress. So what we did was to have like a masterclass anti-stress, for which was amazing, but the ticket for this class was the other bank's card. So you could just enter with like Bradesco card, Itaú card, which was really nice to see it. People like just present showing the card. Oh, I want to be in. And we have like lots of initiatives. But what I really enjoy at this project was this graphic solution, because I really would like to have to make something that only Nubank could do, and something that we could do just by we could show the concept, but just by showing an image, a simple image for that. So what we decided to do, this is some photos of the class, which was
That's the
really nice.
master class.
Yeah, we have this concept that reflects you as one. So what I decided to do is to take one object, which is the circle, because the circle is a really huge symbol of the yoga class and like anti-stress thing. And I would like to, I try to split this into more objects. So all the art direction was based on that. I took these simple lines to make the art direction, and I just try to make a balance between these forms. It's very design thing, but it was very cool to make, because the results were super nice to see it, but the design behind it really helped me to work and develop more things, like a yoga book, even this is the yoga position book that we did.
So this is real. You guys actually produced this, and
yeah, we did
wow.
everything, like super limited edition like this. We only could afford like 10, but it was nice to do it, but we did like this bubble wrap bag, which was super nice. So everybody that joins this event receives this bag, so they could like just pop the bag. It was nice to see it. Anyway, and a nice SMR video that help us people to get like this anti-stress vibe. Anyway, it was cool, and it was a nice way to make design matters. Just not like, okay, the concept and the idea. We could leverage the idea. Leverage the idea with design, which was amazing for us.
Yeah. And for me, it's what I was saying. Like, I really respond to this kind of design, like the ones that are they're deceptively simple. You think it, but then obviously I know the team spends so much time developing it, but I really respond to that kind of design. So that's amazing. So I'm going to ask you one question about Nubank now.
Cool.
And then I want to go back a little bit, but what I want to ask you about Nubank is, like, hearing you talk, when you were hired, did they have this sort of design mentality already? Like, what was the environment that you saw when you got there? And just, I don't know, like, was it something that you were looking for because they already had this design mentality, or was it something that you kind of wanted to go in and really apply that? So what was the context with which you got in there? Because I personally really admire this brand. I like the car. I have the card. So I'm really curious. Tell me a little bit about that part.
It is a simple question with lots of answers. Yes, I've joined Nubank because of the design part, but also because the idea, that the boldness of the brand, how they act and how they make things. This is something that really comes to my attention before I join any brand or any agents. But about the design, something that is cool about Nubank is that we always put the consumer first. We need to think about the consumer before thinking about if this idea is just good enough,
because you think it's cool, or because you really want to do it, or something like that.
Exactly, because for the customers, it doesn't matter if we are going to make something that we are going to be awarded by, like if we are going to win like lots of awards. We need to make the customer happy, and this is something that really this is something that is cool for all the creative that is working with a brand, you know. I remember when I worked with I don't know how to say that, telecomunicação, a brand that like TIM, who does like phone.
Like a phone company, communications phone company.
Exactly. I used to work with two of those brands, and it was super hard to make something cool, especially on social, because even though we put like the best film ever, there are always some complainings about it, because the product's not corresponding what we are saying. So we need to. There's two ways to build a brand and to build a product: what you are saying and what you are doing, and we need to do both well, you know. That's why I joined the bank, because the product is good, it is amazing, and the communication, the way that we talk about the brand is unique. So one thing that we really think about before make any idea in the bank is, okay, does Bradesco would approve that? Does Itaú approve that? If the answer is yes, maybe the idea is not that bold. Maybe the idea is not made for the banks, you know. So we need to always think about the customer, but we always need to think how the bank would talk about that, how the bank would act like that, because we are building this brand, especially right now. Right now, I'm
internationally, right?
Yeah, I'm working for Mexico and Colombia, and we are building this brand. It's so hard the way that we are talking about the bank in Brazil is completely different than the way that we should talk about the bank in Colombia, for instance. So it is fun to build a brand for the beginning, you know. So I'm really excited to work for the
That's
bank,
amazing.
you know?
And yeah, I can imagine that as an art director, that, you know, maybe 12 years ago when you were in school, you probably maybe never imagined you would be at a fintech building a brand in a different country, because you're, you know, learning the type and learning logos and learning this and learning that. So that's a pretty crazy journey. So speaking about that, in these 12 years, you worked at 3 companies, right? White, RGA, and Nubank, which I've seen so many different types of careers. I know people that, you know, bounce around from agency to agency every year, or people, you seem to have stayed a bit longer and have gotten promoted within those companies. So it's not necessarily related to Nubank, this question, but do you think that in your experience, when is it a good idea to stay in general? And when is it a good idea to bounce because, you know, you're not growing in that agency? When is it worth it to stay, and when is it worth it to go? I know I've heard from a lot of creators that they struggle with that. Like, should I stay a little bit more? And, you know,
exactly.
So what's your experience been like? And if you have any advice or tips or comments on that?
Yeah, it could be a comment, not an advice, because I believe we are growing. Each one of us, we are trying to understand.
Everyone has their own journey, 100%.
Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
And the person that I was like 5 years ago is not the person that I am right now. And usually the creative path is to move from agents to agents, which is good because you can have more experience with that, and also you can build an amazing network with that, you know. This is probably something that I didn't do the best way, because working only in 3 agents, like long time in these 3 agents, had made me a little bit higher from some people in the market. So anyway, this is a learning curve that we need to, and with pros and cons, you know. The pros are way bigger than the cons in my case. Like I've started of staying, of course, because in my case we need, and this could be an advice for people that it is starting in their career. You need to find a place that leverage your talent, and you need to find a place that has opportunities for you to grow. And when I mean opportunities for you to grow, it's not like, okay, I'm tired to make social and I want to be awarded and make something really nice for Cannes, for instance. To opportunity means what you're going to learn with that agents, with that client, you know. This is hard to recognize, this is hard to understand, but when you understand, okay, this is the right client for me right now, it is going to be the time that you actually are going to learn the most with the client and with your team and with the agents. So to me, this is the first tip that I would have, is try to understand the opportunities around you, because you might have like different kind of opportunities and challenge, so you can grow with this challenge, which is the important part. And I believe you need to work in a place that stimulates you to have passion about your work, you know. Because creativity demands passion. If you're not passionate about what you are doing, you are not going to be the best creative for yourself, you know. Creativity is when you go to shower and you will still keep thinking about the idea, you know. It's when you order a pizza and you still keep thinking about the solution for that layout, for instance. And you only do that if you are passionate about the briefing, you're passionate about the client, you're passionate about the idea that you are having. So try to find a place that makes you eager to learn and eager to understand a little bit more about the creative process. And maybe this is the obvious one, but
I guess, do you have any red flags though? Or
yes.
have you seen any red flags? Because I've heard a few from friends that I'm like, yeah, no, it does seem like it's time to move on.
Yeah, the first one is that you need to work with nice people that you recognize as like, okay, I would say, grab a beer with this guy, you know. Especially in our market, there's too many assholes, and so we need to recognize people that are fun, that are nice, that are nice to each other. You know, we need to have an environment that you could be yourself, and that's the first point here. And the second flag would be to understand when you have a better opportunity in your career. Some opportunities that I got to leave RGA, I really thought like really deeply about if it was the right time to leave RGA or not. And I believe I made the right decisions of staying, because even though the money was better or the client was better, the overall situation in RGA for me was better than the other agents. So this is tricky because it's hard to balance, you know, and understand the pros and cons behind it, leave or not. But this is something that we need to be comfortable with yourselves. If you're not comfortable doing your work at the agents that you are, leave it. And no matter what, like, you know, if you are, try to understand if you are just on the comfort zone, or you are comfortable because you can be yourself, you can develop your ideas, and you are learning with the others. You know?
That's great. So, it's like dissect the level of comfort. If for one way
exactly.
It's stay, and for the other way it's maybe it's time to challenge yourself and go to something else.
Exactly, but great. This is super hard. This is the hardest part.
I know, really it's a tough question. Yeah. It is for sure. So yeah, we have a question from a viewer, and I'm really curious about this too, because looking at your portfolio, like I personally love color, so I really enjoyed your portfolio and was very curious too about what drives you. So we want to know how your brainstorm works or how your process works, and also if and then also he wants to know, in the pandemic, how has that work been with your team? So let's do the first question first. What is your creative process? How do you brainstorm? What do you do? Well, you already mentioned the shower, so that's one.
Yeah, that's one, because
Take more showers, guys.
Take more showers, take a walk. Like I wash the dishes. This is really helpful for my house, but also to have ideas. It's good to have like a range job to have ideas. But I believe my process is simply dig into the brief, dig into the client, try to understand the whys behind the brief and the needs that the client have. I cannot work without data. That's why I used to work on RJ. I'm working at Nubank because it's basically based on data. We need to have information to understand if the solution that we are doing it would be true to the client, or it's just bullshit. Because if it is just bullshit, we are going to make an idea for ourselves, a creative idea to have an award, a fantasma, how you say in Brazil. So, and this is not the right process. We need to think about the client first. And so I always try to have the more data I have, the best quality of the idea are going to have. For instance, at Nubank, we are so deep focus on the brief, because we at the bank we have this we don't have this separation about, okay, the creatives and the markets team. We work together, so we can leverage more data. We can understand the brief a little bit more. The brief is made with the creatives to understand if this is right from the beginning, because this old-fashioned way to deny briefings for the planning part, like, as I say,
or like you said, to segment it so much. When
it is, because the more united the group is, the best it is going to be the quality of the end of the job. So one thing that I do a lot is to make questions to the rest of the team. Okay, is this right? Is this wrong? Oversharing a lot. I had this insight. What do you think about this insight? And try to understand what the medium people would think about the idea. Because if you are comfortable with the idea, it is enough. Because, okay, you can give the check mark about, okay, this is a creative idea, so I can be awarded by this idea. People are going to recognize this idea. But you need to double check with the rest of the team if this is going to be relevant or not. Because if this is just a good idea for you, it is not a good idea at all. It needs to be a good idea for everybody. So this is the way that I usually work. Try to find the best, try to find the exactly information that I need behind the briefing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hearing you speak very highly of teamwork. I remember when I interviewed you before, you kept saying a lot of times, like, yeah, I did this, but then it was the team and the team and the team. So then this circles back to the question of, how has the team been working during this pandemic, everybody in isolation? How has that been for you? You're a leader now too,
Yeah, it's been tough. I can say that it is not. Because, how can I say that? I believe we need to have this break during our days to understand and realize if the idea is good or not, And I don't know about you, but to me, this break would be like going to the bar, having some lunch, like 2 hours lunch, take the subway to go. And I was like with my headphones, just thinking about ideas. And I miss this, at Nubank, we are super connected. We didn't have this problem about, okay, we need to go to the branch or not, because from the day one, we were 100% like on
home office.
Home office. So it was not a problem at all. But with time, that became a problem, because we need to have this time to understand, to process the idea, to process the thoughts that we might have. And this to me, this is the most challenging aspect of the pandemic, because for at least in Nubank, we are super connected. Like I'm going to have a meeting after this talk, so it is not a problem, especially because I'm working for Mexico right now, Mexico and Colombia right now. So we have different timelines. So, but I miss this break that we had on day by days,
Yeah, it's challenging for everyone. I think some people adapt better to working home office and some people don't. It's so personal. So we'll see how this pans out in the next few years. So we have one more question here from a viewer. So he says that the Nubank Instagram design and content is a great case for many companies. So how many people work on it? How does the process happen in art direction? So tell us about that.
Thank you for that. This is a good compliment for us. We are trying to implement this on Mexico and Colombia too. But if you compare right now, the Instagram that Colombia has with the Instagram that Brazil has, you can see a huge difference between that. And there is some whys behind it. And the whys is, in Nubank Brazil, we have like a more mature structure about that. So we already built the brand, so we can be more playful. This is something that is nice, that I heard for Collins, that has the Collins studio. The brand has two moments, and this is super important here. The moment that we need to build familiarity, and the build that we need to build novelty. At Nubank, in Nubank Brazil, we split or marketing or creatives in two ways: in the fanatical ones and the ones who is going to have more clients for us. Why we do that? Because the message is different between them. For the ones that we need we still need to find as a client, we need to create demand. The narrative is about, okay, this is Nubank and this is what we can do for you. So we need to introduce Nubank. We need to cause familiarity for this person. We need to introduce the purpose. We need to introduce our narratives, the way that we treat our customers, and these kind of things. For the fanaticals, it is something that the client is different. The client is people that already are Nubanker. And for this kind of people, we need to cause novelty. We need to always keep with new things, because if we put always the same banner for him, if you put always the same content for him, that will be just like a daily thing, stuff that he will need to handle with. So we need to build a brand that has, of course, cause familiarity, but also cause novelty. And that's the moment, for instance, the Instagram at Nubank. If you're following the Instagram at Nubank, you already know the brand. So kind of ish, right? But most of them already know the brand. So we can play and we can cause novelty. So we can build new narratives through day by day, So what we do the most is trying to think about social in a way that is not just about, oh, I need to make a post. No, I need to build a narrative. So if you take a look on the social feed for Instagram, for instance, we have some thematics behind the post, and all these thematics has a briefing behind it. So, and all the briefing has a problem behind it. So it is not a simple answer for this simple question, but I believe what we've tried to do for social is to think about the customer first, and think, okay, what does this customer would like to see at our feed right now, and just not, okay, this is the day of Teachers Day, so I need to make a post for Teachers Day. We've tried to build a content. We try to teach a lot through social. So we need to think about the brief and then we can come up with a solution that could be one post, or it could be a campaign, or it could be a campaign site social. The possibilities are bigger than the media, you know. So the idea should be bigger than the media. The idea should be bigger than just a post, you know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered, because it was like there's too many answers for this question, but kind of.
Well, as we know in life, there's no right or wrong answer. So
yeah, exactly.
It's what works for us and what's happening in the company right now. So how big is the team? How big is your creative team at Nubank?
I cannot say that it's my creative team, but
I thought you were gonna say. I thought for a second you were gonna say it's classified. I was gonna be like, come on, that's not classified.
No, it's not classified. But I cannot say even the true, because, for instance, in Brazil, we have lots of creatives, like more than 100 designers, like product designers, and probably 30-ish creatives, even more. I have no idea, actually, just to talk about you.
Well, so it's pretty big. It's a big operation.
It's huge in Brazil, and we are growing in Mexico as well. In Mexico, we have like 10 creatives, and in Colombia, we have 2. So I just hired one. So it's me and one. So
awesome.
we are building this team, which is awesome because it's a new experience, but I'm really excited to make it happen, you know?
So what do you look for in a person when you're hiring someone?
What I am looking for, the truth
someone
behind.
Nice, I'm sure.
No, of course.
But
and Nubank, just for you to understand, and RGA as well. We had like 3 to 4 to 5 interviews before hire these people. Why? Because we need to double, triple check.
Quadruple check
to understand if this person fits for the bank. We are like hiring super fast, but we need to double check that if we are hiring the right people for the right position. Mm-hmm. And that's something that is important. We need to hire for the right position. So what I would looking for some portfolio depends of the position, but my tip would be true to yourself and be true to your portfolio should represent what you want to do, not just what you are good to do.
Or what you think the agency wants to see.
Exactly, because if you do that, you're going to just accept a job that doesn't want to make you happy. So we as creatives, I've already said that, we need to be happy with our jobs, you know, because we need to be passionate about what we are creating. So my tip would be like, be true to yourself, be honest with yourself, to make like a portfolio that is going to make you happy.
Sometimes that's the hardest. This last year or two with the pandemic, it's been tough sometimes for me, to be honest, and to like turn something down. Yeah. Because I know that it's just not the right moment, because I'm already working on this or that. But then I'm like, oh, but I should want to do that. And then, it's been a lesson for me this last year. So that's a good one, people. So we only have about 6-7 minutes left. So let's try to get through these questions. We have 2 questions from viewers.
Let's do it.
So awesome. So one question that we want to ask you is about narratives. So what is the process of storytelling, and does it work for you, or how does it work for you in art direction in terms of storytelling and using narratives?
It's a good question. Also a tricky question because it's complex. I always try, in terms of art direction, to try to find the whys behind the art direction. Can I share my screen? Maybe this is going to be with a simple example. Okay, this one. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not the best job that I have, but probably it's going to be the job that everybody eventually are going to have to make in the career. But this is a good example of the whys behind an art direction. Like we in this idea, we would like to poke the traditional banks in Mexico and say what they are like promising that they are going to do, but they actually don't do at all, you know? So this is just an example of what we did. But the insight that we have here is to try to compare with colors, to use other bank colors to show what they are doing wrong. So we pick the most traditional banks, the color of the most traditional banks. We build a palette for this, and we say basically dile nu for that, which is of course dile no, but also dile nu bank. So we've built a whole narrative, our direction narrative with the colors. So te ofrecen beneficios, pero te dan condiciones. Cumple un año, te cobra una anuidad. So we use what other banks did, the wrong things that the other bank did, and we use color to say, okay, this is what they are doing wrong, and our solution is the purple. Our solution is the blue. So
amazing.
Of course, this is not the best awarded job that I had on my portfolio, but I believe this can synthesize a little bit the whys behind it. You know, I could do something that is just beautiful, because I believe in art direction and design, you need to do something that people are going to be recognized. People are going to recognize as beautiful, because we are not artists, we are designers, and we are art direction. But we need to find the whys behind it, you know. And this is tricky. This is hard to do it. But when you find it, you can do anything with the campaign. You know, you could do anything, because you know the rule that you find. So
if you find the why behind it, it can grow into almost any medium, any idea, any, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's some, man, these Brazilians in the chats, it's so funny. You guys are killing me here. With the puns in English and Portuguese. I love it.
Yeah.
So we have another question from a viewer that actually has to do with what you were just talking about in terms of, you know, working on building the brand in a different country. So how do you adapt to the cultural differences between countries? Is this just a lot of research, or how do you guys go about that?
Research, because everything that we do is based on that data, but also respect. We need to build a relation with the customer based on respect. This is something that it came from the roof of Nubank, you know, the roots. We need to have a transparent relation with the client, but also respect, because me as designer, I'm working with another culture that I don't know like deeply. So I need to first study everything that I'm doing, and also have lots of respect about the feedback that I'm receiving, you know. So I need to trust the team that we have in Nubank, Mexico, and also to make lots of research. Like we need to make this research.
Yeah, but I think you really touched on something important there. The key word really is respect. I think if you make that effort to approach it respectfully, you're already halfway there.
Exactly. And I believe this is something that all the creatives should have, because I said this to a student a few weeks ago. Eventually, you are going to create something that you don't have familiarity. So eventually, you're going to me as a man, I'm going to work to something about period of women's. So I need to study, I need to have respect. Otherwise, only women are going to talk about it, you know? Otherwise, like, of course, the most of the narrative should be made by women in this case, but you eventually, as a creative, you're going to take briefings that doesn't reflect who you are. So you need
your particular lifestyle,
so you need to learn to study that. Like for instance, I used to work with Nike running, and I didn't run at all at the time. So what I did is to just start running and try to discover and try to research people and try to make more interviews and try to understand the needs that this public has. So you need to be respectful, and also has lots of data to understand what you are going to create.
Mm-hmm. We have one more question from a viewer, and it's about social media and digital. So with so much content everywhere, we're flooded by images, that goes without saying. So what do you think is most important for content to be relevant?
That depends, actually. It depends on the briefing, depends on the moment that you have. For another example, we were working on some posts, social posts for Colombia. And I don't know if you heard, but in Colombia, they are on a tough situation with lots of protests and this kind of things. So we needed to understand if that was the right moment to post that simple post that we would post or not, you know. And that is something about understand the world, and to understand the moment that the brand is having, you know. This is tricky. I don't think this has one only answer, you know. I believe it depends on the moment. Depends on the problem that the brand is having. Because
now I think social is as big as, I don't know, anything else. It's just become so big that it's kind of hard to have a one answer. So one more
stuff
question
as well.
Go ahead.
And social stuff, because you are going to have receive the feedback at the moment that you're posting. So if your brand is hated, you are going to feel the hate at the moment that you launch the idea or the campaign, you know. So it's tough as well, but it's good because we need to test things as well.
So you guys really take this sort of the feedback and the criticism or the compliments, and then just really digest that and then react to that. Like you try at Nubank, you guys really try to stay on top of that.
Not just Nubank. I believe all the brands needs to lose the fear of fail. We need to fail more, especially when we are talking about bank fails. When you have a protest at Paulista, the first thing that they are going to broke is the bank, right? They are not wrong with that, you know. We need to be aware of our weakness and try to understand our public, to not say bullshit or not try to
sugarcoat stuff, right? Like
exactly. This is
it came while you were talking. I was like that. Yeah, it's like sugarcoating. You know, like you said, banks do have a lot of problems sometimes, and it's important to deal with it realistically. I think the thing that you said in the beginning of the interview, where it's like what the brand promises and what it's saying, and how it has to be so aligned, because that's where the problems come in, and where rejection of that brand occurs. If it just doesn't match.
Exactly.
So I have two more questions left. I think we have a bit more time. So my last two questions, they're a bit related. So you recently became a creative leader. So I'm very curious to know how that transition was, or what you had to leave behind, because, you know, maybe before you had your art director hat on, and then there's the leader hat. Did anything change? Did you have to leave anything behind? And then my last question is, what advice do you have for people who want to get into companies such as Nubank? Like fintechs and tech, art directors that want to get into this type of work and kind of move away from the traditional agency environment.
Okay. First about the leading thing. My old boss, he told me something once that I never forgot, which was like, the promotion is a recognition about something that you are already doing. So if you want to be a lead, you need to lead. You need to start doing that. Simple
even in
that,
your current position,
even in your current position, because you don't need to boss to be bossy and boss someone.
So true.
You just need to be a lead. You just need to be someone who is going to recognize about, okay, I need to understand what his opinion about that, or you need to make people feel comfortable with your position about things, so people are going to include you more. So if you want to be a lead, you need to be leading people who are leading the job, leading somehow, because you are going to be recognized as that. But one thing that changed when I become lead is that it is not about you anymore. It is about the team. It is about the idea. It is about the client, but also especially about the team. It is about the people that you are managing.
Oh, that's so interesting. So rather than maybe thinking about, oh, I want to do this work for my portfolio or this and make sure I do this, you're thinking more about how to make the team run smoothly.
Exactly. And you need to learn how to give space for the people that you are managing shining bright. You need to trust these people. You need to give the tools for these people to grow, which is really hard, especially when we are talking about creativity, because creativity demands lots of effort, but also in some cases, lots of egos. So if you hire someone who has ego, that could be a problem for you as well. If you are someone who has like too much ego, this is going to be a problem for you as well, because you are going to be the one who is going to say, okay, do that. That doesn't, and from my point of view, my perspective about that, this is not the best way that you should lead someone. Mm-hmm. Especially because you just hire someone because you want her or his opinion about that, her or his view about the job, so it's not about you anymore. You need to understand, to be really empathetic about these people, and try to leverage their talents to shine and bright, and that's the hardest part, because you need to be empathetic at the point to understand how these persons are going to actually work better, because some people works better with space. Like, okay, let's give some people the space.
Let them do what they have to do and then reach out to them later. And maybe some people that need constant feedback or something like that.
Exactly. There's some people that you need to keep pushing and needs more attention, needs to double check, oh, am I doing this right, or am I doing this wrong, So this is the challenge, the challenging part, to be empathetic at the point that you don't need to ask people, okay, how you would like to do that, because some people, if you ask this, they are going to just
retreat,
So this is hard, but it's been really, it is challenging, so it's nice.
Any parting advice for people who are interested in, who admire your career and are interested in not necessarily following your footsteps, but who kind of admire that and want to get into a fintech or want to get into a tech company, and they're art directors and maybe they're not sure how to go about that? Any parting advice?
Don't be afraid of having a great idea. And be truly with yourself in your portfolio. Because it is what it is. Sometimes I like that movie from Eloho. It's not from you. It's not from you. It is a super famous movie about some clowns crying out loud, but that is true. Like, you need to be yourself in your portfolio, because sometimes you want to work on a fintech or offline agency. I don't know what your choice would be, but you don't like to do it. You are just doing this because of the glamour, of because someone that you admire to do these kind of things. But sometimes you are happy doing social. There's lots of people that do social, and these people is the ones that make like great things in social, So if you are truly with yourself, you can be happy at your job, you know.
And move to work towards building a portfolio that gets you there. Yeah, that's amazing.
Exactly.
So unfortunately we have to go, guys. So I know Vitor has a question. So Vitor, if you want to send your question to Gabriel, he put in his LinkedIn. So
Pode
maybe you
mandar.
could, yeah, you guys can send questions. I really want to thank the Brazilians for, one of them said, your job is foda. I've been reading all those. Like, so funny.
I
So
didn't have time to see it, but
it's so funny. It was like all Portuguese and English together, and I was just trying not to laugh. I made it. We made it until the end. So Gabriel, I really, really want to thank you for your time and for
No,
all your tips and for all your thoughts. I think it was super interesting. I love these conversations where anyone can like you work at a fintech, but anyone can relate to what you're saying. So I really want to thank you for your time. I want to thank everyone for being here, and we'll see you next time on Nomad Talks. Thank you, guys. Be sure to check in and see the next talk.
Bye bye, guys.
Good night.
It was super nice.